Hello learners, welcome back. We continue looking at experimental techniques, which is a topic in the Msce chemistry. Alright, so now today in this lesson we are going to look at testing for gases. Previously we looked at testing for ions, both cations and the anions. Alright, so your syllabus demands that you should be able to carry out simple tests to identify gases such as ammonia. Ammonia is the NH3. Carbon dioxide, CO2. Hydrogen gas, H2. Chlorine, Cl2. Oxygen, which is O2, and the sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is CO2. Alright, so for each of these gases, you are required to carry out a simple test, a simple experiment to detect their presence. In most cases, these gases come from chemical reactions. So some chemical reactions will produce carbon dioxide. Some chemical reactions will produce hydrogen. Some will produce chlorine. Others will produce oxygen gas, and others will produce ammonia, and yet others will produce sulfur dioxide. Right? Now, first you need to recall that you can tell that a gas is being produced from a chemical reaction by simply observing formation of bubbles. Formation of bubbles, okay? But bubbles alone do not tell you what type of gas has been evolved, what type of gas is evolved in a chemical reaction. Alright, so we are going to discuss the basic tests that you can carry out in order to determine the type of gas that is produced by a chemical reaction. Starting off with ammonia. How can you tell that the gas produced in a chemical reaction is ammonia? Alright, take note, ammonia is NH3. So in order to test for ammonia, all you have to do is introduce a damp litmus paper into a jar which contains the gas. Okay? Alright, so we are saying, let's suppose that this is the gas jar in which there is a gas. You don't know yet what the gas is. So let's say these are particles, gas particles. Okay, but not yet known what the gas is. Okay, so you simply dip or dump. You dump a red litmus paper into it. So this is the red litmus paper, red litmus. So you drop this into the gas jar. So there's a gas there which is not yet known what it is. Okay. So if the gas that is in the jar, this is a gas jar. It's a jar. If the gas in the jar is ammonia, you'll notice a color change. Right? The damp litmus paper, the damp red litmus paper will turn to blue. Alright, so before you drop the litmus paper, the red litmus paper into the jar, it is red. So red litmus turns to blue. Red turns to blue. So if the litmus paper, the red litmus paper turns blue, then it means that the jar contains ammonia. Ammonia turns red litmus paper to blue color. You'll ask why it does that, because ammonia is a base, okay? So ammonia is a base, and under basic conditions, red litmus paper turns to blue. So take note that this is happening because ammonia is a base, okay? So all bases turn red litmus paper to blue, okay? So they may ask you in a 2 marks question to say, explain how you do test for ammonia gas, okay? How you will test for ammonia gas? So you simply say introduce a damp litmus paper into a jar which contains the gas. If the red litmus paper changes to blue, then the gas in the jar is red. So you get 1 mark for saying that, and another mark for saying the result. So notice that the explanation consists of what you do in the experiment and the result, the outcome. So what you will do is you damp red litmus paper, or introduce a damp red litmus paper into a jar which contains the gas, and then you say if the red litmus paper changes to blue color, then the gas in the jar is ammonia. 2 marks, okay? All right, what about testing for a carbon dioxide gas? Okay, testing a gas or testing for the presence of carbon dioxide. Remember, carbon dioxide is CO2. It contains 1 carbon and 2 oxygen atoms, which are combined in the ratio of 1 to 2. Okay, so in order to detect the presence of carbon dioxide gas, all right, all you have to do is to bubble the gas introduced through lime water, which is calcium hydroxide solution. Right, so we are saying in order to test for carbon dioxide, bubble the gas produced through lime water. So bubble the gas produced through lime water. Okay, lime water is basically calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is simply CaOH2. Okay, so if the gas produced is carbon dioxide, then the calcium hydroxide, which is lime water, will turn milky. Okay, not that it will become milk, but it will take the color of milk. Milk by nature is white. Okay, so the lime water will become milky if the gas is produced is carbon dioxide. So let's suppose that you have a situation like this. Let's say you have a situation like this. Suppose you have you have a reaction. For example, when you add sugar to yeast, or you add yeast to sugar solution. All right, let's suppose you place sugar solution and yeast. There is a reaction which is called fermentation, which is going to take place. Right, so this is a mixture of sugar solution and yeast. Okay, all right, so if you connect this to another container that has lime water in it, like this. Let's suppose you have lime water in a separate jar, or maybe test tube. Okay, so you have something like this. All right, so that when the gas is produced, remember, fermentation produces carbon dioxide as one of the products, the byproducts. The main product, of course, is ethanol, which is an alcohol. All right, so if you place lime water here, which we said is CaOH, CaOH subscript 2, you will observe a color change. Initially, the lime water is colorless, so it will change from colorless to milky color. Milky, like white. Don't say it will change to white. No, you have to say it turns milky, like it takes the color of milk. It's very, very white if you know milk. All right. So if the color change, the calcium hydroxide changes color from colorless to milky, it means that the gas being produced in the fermentation process, which is carried along by the tube, this tubing, must be what? It must be carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. So the gas being delivered to this tube here is the carbon dioxide. So he's saying, what is the test? Explain the test for carbon dioxide and state the result. The question will come like that. So you would simply say bubble the gas. Bubble the gas. So the gas should be bubbled. Okay, this should go deep into this calcium hydroxide solution. So bubbles will be forming here. These bubbles are due to the gas which is being produced from the process called fermentation, like that. So this, upon bubbling here, it will change to milky color, okay? Which shows that the gas being produced is indeed carbon dioxide. So take note. So if an exam question says, state the test for carbon dioxide gas, including the expected result, all right? So you say the first part, this part here, which says bubble the gas produced through lime water, 1 mark, okay? Then lime water turns milky if the gas is carbon dioxide, another mark. So it's like you have total of 2 marks there. All right, I hope so far so good. All right, okay. Another gas that is of interest is the hydrogen gas. All right, so in order to test for hydrogen gas, all you have to do is introduce a burning splint. A burning splint is like a matchstick. So you get a matchstick, you light a matchstick, and bring it at the mouth of the gas jar containing the gas. So if the gas produced is hydrogen, you're going to hear a pop sound. A pop sound is a small explosion. It goes like, right? Which means that the gas being produced there is hydrogen gas. You might have tried this with your teacher. Let's say, for example, you get water. Let's say you get water in a beaker. Suppose you have water in a beaker, and you happen to drop in, this is water, H2O. You happen to drop in a metal such as sodium metal, for example. So when the sodium metal touches water here, there's going to be a reaction. Now, if you watch this, there's going to be some gas in form of fumes or cloudy fumes, all right? These cloudy fumes, in most cases whitish or grayish in appearance, is basically hydrogen being produced. So this is hydrogen being produced. You would actually see something like smoke being produced. This is going to be hydrogen. So if you bring a matchstick, a burning matchstick nearby, you are going to have some kind of, sorry about that, I didn't mean to. You are going to have some kind of explosion. You see some explosion. This explosion is associated with a sound, which is called a pop sound. It goes like poof. It's a small explosion. Remember that hydrogen has a property of being explosive, so it is going to explode. All right, so if an examiner is asking you to explain the test for hydrogen gas, all you have to do is introduce a burning splint. Or you can say, if you have forgotten to say a burning splint, the splint is just a stick. So you can simply say matchstick, a burning matchstick. Introduce it to the mouth of the test tube or of the container which contains the gas. So the gas burns with a pop sound if it is hydrogen. If it's hydrogen, there's going to be a pop sound. Make sure you mention the word pop sound, because that's what is acceptable in the test for hydrogen. All right, so far, so good. If you have any issues, questions, don't hesitate to contact us so that we can assist you accordingly. All right, the next gas, which is also supposed to be tested for, is chlorine gas. Remember, chlorine is a halogen. Okay, is a halogen, meaning it belongs to group number 7. And it is also diatomic gas. Diatomic meaning it exists as Cl2, right? So this too has properties that can be tested in the lab. You can test these for chlorine in the lab, right? So what chlorine does is that it has a tendency to remove color. For example, blue litmus paper can be made white by chlorine. All right, blue litmus paper can be made white. The process of removing color from paper is called bleaching. All right, so the procedure is simple. Just to hold a damp blue litmus paper at the mouth of a test tube containing the gas. Suppose this is the test tube. There's a gas in it. All right, so when you dip a blue litmus paper into it, okay, it is going to change to white. It will change to white. So the act of removing blue color is known as bleaching. So should the examiner ask you, explain how you can show that a gas produced by a chemical reaction is chlorine, all you have to say is that hold a damp blue litmus paper at the mouth of the test tube containing the gas. Okay, the damp blue litmus paper gets bleached if the gas is chlorine. To be bleached simply means to lose color. So the blue color is going to disappear upon dipping it into the test tube that contains chlorine. Very important. So the test is 1 mark and the result is also 1 mark. A total again of 2 marks there. I hope we are following. We are together there. Another gas of interest is oxygen. All right. Oxygen, remember, oxygen is a group 6 element. It is O2. All right. It is also diatomic, meaning it exists as a molecule of 2 atoms. All right. Okay, so oxygen can be detected or tested for by simply introduce a glowing splint into a gas jar containing oxygen. The glowing splint relights or bursts into flames. Okay, let's say you have a test tube which contains a gas. And you want to check if it is oxygen. So all you have to do is light a matchstick and blow it off. Light a matchstick and blow it off. While it is still glowing, bring it closer to the mouth of the test tube. This is a matchstick. Remember, it should not be burning. It should just be glowing. Glowing means to produce light without burning. So you light the matchstick, blow it off, immediately bring it to the mouth of the test tube. This is a test tube. All right. This is the gas into it, or in it. Okay, so if the gas in the test tube is oxygen, the glowing matchstick is going to relight. In other words, it is going to produce a flame again. That shows that the gas in the test tube is oxygen gas. All right, so these are some of the tests for different gases that you need to be familiar with testing, but you may also be required to simply describe the process in an exam. Last but not least, testing for sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is also a gas. It is formed when sulfur reacts with oxygen. It is going to form sulfur dioxide, SO2. All right, so how can you tell that a given chemical reaction is producing sulfur dioxide? So all you have to do is bubble the gas through acidified potassium dichromate. The acidified potassium dichromate changes from purple to colorless if the gas is sulfur dioxide. So we are saying bubble the gas through acidified potassium dichromate. Okay, dichromate. Then the acidified potassium dichromate is going to change its color from purple to colorless if the gas in it is sulfur dioxide. So go through the different tests. Remember that you can ask for the PDF of these notes, which I can gladly send to you so that you can study on your own. When we meet again in the next lesson, we are going to look at the last part of the topic called experimental techniques, and we are going to be looking at how you can test for the presence of water. My name once again is Mr. Pochilola. Wishing you all the best as you study hard the subject chemistry and prepare well for your exams in Msce exams, which are coming next year in 2026. All right, so once again, wishing you all the best, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that videos as